1, 2, 3.
Bust it.
Power Connect Show. Power Connect. Power Connect Show. Power Connect. Power Connect Show. Your reliable program that gives you all the information you need to know about the power sector, professionals in the industry, electrical products, government agencies, the stakeholders, and many more. Power Connect Show.
Call it the Ray McCoy of power programs. Electricity power programs. Call it the Ray McCoy of electricity power programs in the country. You are right. You are right on point. And if you like, call it the paradigm or the quintessence of everything that you need to know about the power sector. You are still not far from the truth. And I'm talking of the Power Connect show. That very interesting, that very ever exciting program that you always wait for when it's this time every week. Wednesday after Wednesday, you know that something exciting must happen on no other place and on no other station other than your ever equally interesting, your ever exciting program, Niger FM 102.7, the radio that always makes sense. Now we radio. My name is Ademola Ben Cranston Adegoke, and I will be your host on this program. And you know that I don't do that alone. That is one thing. You know, my I call him my co-traveler on the sea, my co-navigator on the sea of this program. I'm talking of no other person, Banji Busari. Banji Bibi, are you there?
Great. I love your intro, and it's if I'm listening to this program for the first time, I also let me listen to that that intellectual. That man that's always coming up with new lexicon on this program every week. And that's what I am taking away from your intro.
Thank you, Banji. Thank you, baby.
Yeah, great doing what you know how to do best. It's the midweek edition and this Power Connect show. We thank God for the showers of blessing. Everywhere is cool and I'm happy for it. Listeners out there, thank you for keeping faith. We are back at our duty post. You are welcome. So, you have any news for our people?
Yes, there is. But before I read the news, we have always said it on this program, and we like to say it in the local parlance. Say, every day now for the thief, but not just one day
for the owner.
For the owner. And that
every day for the thief.
Every day for the thief.
For the thief, one day for the owner. Yeah, we are right. We are right. You are right.
So another kind of news I won't read. Another kind of news. It says man jailed for vandalizing EKEDC facility. One Outer Simon has been jailed for vandalizing and stealing underground cables belonging to Ekwe Electricity Distribution Company, EKEDC. Outer, who was arraigned before an Apapa Magistrate Court, pleaded guilty to the charges and was subsequently sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. However, his accomplice in the crime, one Samson Zachary, was said to be at large and is still being wanted by men of the Nigerian. Of course,
the long arm of the law will catch up with him.
Of course. In the same vein, not be only him. In the same vein, one Jimo Yesu has been arraigned before the Magistrate Court 2 in Badagry following his arrest while attempting to move a stolen aluminium conductor in the Akpato community around Semeboda in Badagry, Lagos State. According to a release by the General Manager Corporate Communications, EKEDC, Mr. Babatunde Lasaki, Yesu has been admitted to bail and is currently cooling off at the Badagry facility of the Nigerian Correctional Center, pending the perfection of his bail conditions. Lasaki decried a situation where the company spends huge resources on facilities to improve power supply for the satisfaction of its customers, while some criminally minded individuals vandalize and steal the same facilities for their own selfish ends. He then appealed to members of the public to join hands with the company to fight the menace of vandalism of the company's facilities.
You recall that only 7 days ago, that's our focus on this program. And we just believe that this prosecution, this latest prosecution, would actually serve as deterrent to criminally minded people, the vandals who are out there. In my community, thank God they are our transformer. In fact, just by the whiskers that our transformer was actually spared. They were almost cutting it away when we got, but they escaped.
So I think that is the point that Mr. Lasaki in his press statement is making here, that everybody should join hands. It's not an EKEDC affair. It's not the disco affairs alone. It's not a disco affair. It's something that concerns all of us.
It's everybody's responsibility, security. So we'll go for a short break. When we return, the program will actually resume. Thank you.
This is EKEDC Power Connect. Let's go on a pleasure ride into the world of knowledge and information with Eco Electricity Distribution Company.
Dear Ogbonge Eco Disco customer, abeg make you go our website www.ekedp.com/STS and enter your current meter number to check whether your meter qualify to upgrade to the STS2 version. If your meter qualify, we go holla you back. But if you not qualify, you fit apply for new meter and the EKEDC go return the meter money to you over time. If you experience any wahala, abeg make you contact our customer experience team through the email or phone wey we provide. This na public service announcement from EKEDC. EKEDC, now we dey empower the quality of life.
Say Power Connect Show, ABC. Now, what do we have on the table?
Banji, did you know that so soon it's 1 year after the present administration came into power? John, it's 1 year already.
Yeah. Some people may argue that it's next week, but of course, we're already looking at the 1 year anniversary, the next 7 days. So the time is right for us to actually review, to evaluate, to X-ray, and look at how things have actually,
especially in our own constituency, the power sector.
And
we have someone in the house who knows that constituency so well. In fact, were there to be a parliament, a power sector parliament, perhaps it would be a ranking senator, in that parliament of power. You understand? Because have you also forgotten that he was our very first guest?
Yes, I was going to say that
on this program.
I was going to
and
say
he's
that.
been here even after that.
And the foundation he laid is still very much working.
So he's a friend of the house, apart from being, an analyst in the sector. I'm talking of engineer Ola Olawiyi. Once again, you are welcome and nice to see your fresh face again. Are you sure that you are in this country because your face is looking so fresh?
Of course, the land is green in Nigeria. Everybody's face is supposed to be fresh.
Very, very fresh.
So anything other than that. So you are welcome, sir. It's our pleasure to have you again. You started it, and a year after, or almost a year now, we are having a cause to bring you. Now, ABC has actually laid the background. We are attempting, it's an attempt to look at what has happened in the last 12 months
in the power
sector. So give us an overview. There are indices anyway, but if you ask me, I'd like you to look at holistically what are the high points of this industry and the low points since Tinubu took over.
I mean, the assessment would have to be given by the Nigerian people, and so the call for power is that they want availability 24 hours across board, and that assessment has to be determined by those indicators. So are we getting value for money? Are we getting power in the quantity that we want it? And is it the right cost? So this is the assessment that would have to determine performance of any government.
So you talked about availability. I talk about costs. Don't forget that recently talking about costs, the discourse came out with differentiation, kind of a discrimination amongst various strata. That's a different phase. We have band A, B, C, D, E. Now, what's your assessment on, and then the rate, talking about the cost now, how has it actually played out, and has that actually given us the cause to celebrate that, or something new is happening?
So the assessment has to be made by where we were and where we are now. So are we getting much more power than we did a year ago? Are they cheaper? Are they cleaner? So the assessment has to be made. The good thing about electricity is also very localized as well. I think one of the very big mistakes that we make is we do this scoring based on a national average. But what is a good electricity supply in one region of the country might be bad somewhere else. So I think it would be doing the government injustice to just make a determination on availability based across the bigger, across the nation. So some states do better than others. Maybe they are doing better than others. A very good example is what is happening in Geometric in Abia. So they would tell you that electricity in their region is improved, right? And that it would be an indication of how the assessment can be carried out. So everybody in their own constituencies will have to make a determination. Are they getting value for money? And is electricity in your area improved?
ABC, is the electricity in your area improved in the last 12 months?
Well, I think
those are the posters.
I still want I want him to speak to this issue of tariff increase, because it's about, since about 2 months ago when it was announced, the dust it raised is yet to settle. But I want you to look at it from two angles: the business angle and the social or humanitarian angle. From the business angle, it will be argued that it is needed for the sustenance of the industry, of the sector. But from the humanitarian angle, it will be argued that it is coming with some burden, some hardship to the people. How do we strike a balance between these two positions?
I mean, this is an extremely complex and very, very complicated subject to address. So how do you cluster people together under a feeder system? How do you do that? So most feeder system has a mix of businesses and residential. So how do you assign tariff that actually represent their capability to pay? Because it's also very important to the health of the industry that when you bill people, they're able to pay. They can, affordability is one big assessment that we have to make. Can they actually pay? Initially for band A was 225, and now it's 206. So the government has actually reversed the pricing downward, the tariff downward, in a way that would encourage payment and collection. So this is the determination we have to make. As a business entity, it's an ongoing concern. They also have to make money. But again, the government has to look at the entire policy on how increase in electricity, whether you're in band A, residential, band A, commercial, how that is likely to affect the overall goal of inflation reduction. So this is the goal hand in hand. So if the energy prices goes up, inflation is likely to go up because the cost will get passed on to the consumer. So there's this balancing. How do you make it work? What does the demographic look like? Are they mostly residential? Are they mostly commercial, industrial? So
more questions than answers now. But before you actually proceed, I'd like you to maybe we should have started from, because when this administration came in, he raised the administration raised so much hope about its intention. I mean, the readiness and capacity to actually bring good reforms that will actually transform the power sector. One of the landmark decision or the policy was that of the Electricity Act 2023. Now, a year after or months after that electricity was actually passed, what's your assessment of its implementation?
I mean, localizing power is the best thing any government would have ever done. And so we're very grateful that the government had the courage and the determination to push this act through. So this is going back to restructuring that people have clamored for, federalism. So you're responsible for your own outcome. This is very, very important, that electricity is actually gotten closer to the people. So like I said, it's misleading when you do a national average of the health of the electricity sector. What is important is the local impact. So if I was to give you an example, if you have an industrial zone that gets only 10 hours of power on the average, and then you have another one that is localized that get 22 hours of power. The 22 hours power local availability is more important than the 10-hour average. And this is how we have to begin to see it. And this is what the Electricity Act is able to do, that the states can generate, they can transmit, they can distribute, and they can collect when it comes to this power sector. This is extremely, extremely important. Maybe one of the biggest single event that has happened since we went private.
All right, the ABC, good one. I mean, it's a very good point to actually go for a short break. When we return, of course, we'll ask our listeners to also partake in this conversation. It's 1 year anniversary of the current administration. We're looking at the power sector. How well has the administration fared? So we'll go for a short break. When we return, the program continues.
Dear esteemed customer, Eco Electricity Distribution Company, EcoDisco, hereby advises you against careless attitudes in your daily usage of electricity to avoid electrocution. Electrocution is the passage of electrical currents through a human body, resulting in death. EKEDC therefore advises you to be extremely careful when using electric gas cookers, microwave ovens, washing machines, irons, and so on when plugging in your TV, radio, DVD players, and stereo sets. Do not tamper with or attempt repairing your meter if it develops a fault. Invite a qualified electrical engineer. Also, this rainy season, to avoid electrocution or untimely death, be careful not to step on naked electricity wire or engage in any trading or business activity under high tension wire. For any electrical issues you have, call our customer care line on 0708 067 1170 and 0700 123 5666. EKEDC, empowering the quality of lives.
Well, it's the Power Connect show, and our guest has been Mr. Ola Olawi, a major stakeholder in the power sector. You were talking about the Electricity Act, and that has brought so much reforms, localizing powers, transferring powers from the regulatory body to the states, and all of that. So many good aspects of the Electricity Act. How has that actually impacted on the availability? You spoke about availability at the beginning. How has it actually impacted availability and the cost?
So one of the things that we you can't hold your government responsible for everything. So one of the things that the government is supposed to do is create an enabling environment, and they do that via regulation and via policy. So the policies actually set the groundwork for people to come and invest in the sector. So you can actually play locally. This is extremely important. So instead of this global outlook to the energy problem, which is a big size apple, so you're now taking slices and now beginning to look at entities within the federation that probably works for your own business plan or business goal. So this is why we're excited about the Electricity Act. It's going to take some time for a state to come on board and get some traction. And we're beginning to see that in some of I think about 4 or 5 states, they've got the Electricity Act together, and they'll start to attract investment.
Okay.
Well, I think we need to bring in our listeners into this conversation, and the lines are to call. Yes, to call 020 1515 1027. I repeat that, 020 1515 1027. The other line is 020 1515 2027. I repeat, 020 1515 2027. You can also call onto our WhatsApp line, 081 001 30349. I repeat, 081 001 30349. So join in the conversation. What's your own assessment since Tinubu's administration came on board? Have you actually enjoyed power more, and is it pocket friendly too?
And the development within the industry.
Within the industry, yeah. We'd like to know. I'm concerned about we've been speaking about availability. People say that the grid has collapsed much more than in the previous than in the past.
Than has been our experience in the past.
So, how do you see this? I mean, the frequent collapse of the grid. How can we actually checkmate that? And do you not think that's also a minus for the power sector? If the grid
that's the whole point of the Electricity Act. So instead of having to generate and transmit across the country just to get power to who wants it, so we are localizing production.
So we are going to be having mini grids.
Well, mini grids.
Mini grids,
grid, state grid, IPPs. I mean, if you look at local, so the question you have to start asking yourself is, in my area, am I getting more power and am I getting value for money in my area? Now, if you look at national, the indices might be entirely different. Which it is, I think that's what you're referring to.
Okay, let's because when we look at the power sector actually within the last 1 year, you can say that things have actually been happening at a frenetic speed. Things have, they have been coming in a flux. Let's look at the issue of transfer. Even though the tariff increase seems to have taken the shine off, most of these happenings. We have the transfer of regulatory power to the state. We have the separation of the system operator from the TSP, that is the transmission service provider. What do you say? Let's take the issue of a transfer of regulatory powers to the state. Some are arguing that the ground is not yet well prepared for it, and some are saying that there can't be a better time to start, that you just have to start. What is your take on this?
I mean, again, it's referring to what I just said. So every of the single state within the federation would have to go at their own pace. The demand need is entirely different. The pace is different. Even the affordability, the per capital income within state is entirely different. So the Act actually provides the opportunity for people that are interested in the power play to generate according to local needs, to price according to local needs. So a very good example is this. So when I say Ban A, and Ban A in Sokoto is not necessarily Ban A in Lagos, because you're assuming that the capacity to pay is the same. So, but if you look at the Electricity Act, right, it's saying, look, my Ban A in Sokoto could be for all you know, could be 120 naira per kilowatt hour, and my Ban B in Lagos could be 150 naira per kilowatt hour. So what you're doing is you are actually delivering product services in a way that the local market can actually buy into and
so as far as you are concerned, uniformity of tariff may have to be looked into, may have to be reviewed.
Definitely, that's the whole point of state participation in the.
Okay.
And that's what the Act is enabling to do. This is so when you look at we do 6,000 megawatt across board, and we haven't generated more than that. That's misleading, because the bulk of the 6,000 megawatt could be going to 1 or 2 or 3 states, and they could have seen an uptick in availability. So that's why I'm saying that what the Act now allows is for you to look at your own local market and design solution within that market that works for them and price it accordingly as well.
Well, very good submission there, but I'm still not happy yet that our people have not made contributions on this one. Let me repeat. The WhatsApp number is 081-001-30341. I mean, there must be reaction from our listeners.
One challenge.
What do they think should have been done better? And what are the areas of, new expectations, or what their own, the way things should be run under this dispensation. That's expect the numbers are 02015151027. Again, 02015151027. The other number is 02015152027. Let's Jojo. It's an assembly of ideas. Yes, let's hear your own aspect. Yes, you are the consumers, and you should know better how you fare under this administration, particularly concerning power sector.
There are challenges. Some, maybe emerging challenges. Some you can refer to them as legacy challenges that have been carried over time. And one of such is the metering gap. The metering gap, bridging the metering gap, has been a challenge within the industry. And government, in fairness to government and them, the other stakeholders, they've been trying to see how this gap can be bridged. How best do you think we should approach the issue of bridging the metering gap?
So again, if you go back to what the Electricity Act is, the intent is once you're able to localize your market and address local issues the way they are, and you can price it correctly, then one thing you're possibly going to get is an increase in investment. So as more money comes into the sector, then metering is a must happen. It has to happen for you to be able to know what you're selling and how much you're selling to who you're selling it to. So again, metering itself is not some new technology somewhere. The only thing that is holding it back is investment, right? So as long as you continue to regulate rightly, as long as you continue to formulate policy that works in favor of the market, investment will flow.
Yeah, the Electricity Act is supposed to actually facilitate the investment from several other stakeholders. Have you seen that trend actually? The manifestation of that intention for that the investors would actually also come into the sector. Have you seen that?
Yeah, without a doubt. So the investors.
Have you seen the prospects and now is it happening?
Yeah, we're beginning to see activities in the sector. So investors are now looking at markets that are favorable. Again, a very good example is Geometric. I know Geometric has been in the making for a while, but they're beginning to look at models like that on how I can serve a local market, deal with the state in the local capacity, price my product right for them that works for them, and get paid for doing that. So this is what the Act is. At the end of the day, we are looking for a competitive, liberalized market. So the Act is one of the many steps of getting there. The unbundling of the
discourse
of the
TCN rather.
Yeah, so TCN is the planning on how you plan electricity, how you plan demand management, forward contracts and all those is now entirely different from the technical section. So that's again is unbundling it, making what is otherwise a very complex sector, simplifying it in a way that they can focus on what they're good at and provide good quality service to the market they serve.
Time is never a friend on this program, and then we are running out of time. But there is one issue, talking about challenges, that I want you to speak to before we bring the program to a close for today. And that is, we started with our news and tidbit has to do with one challenge in the industry, and that is vandalism. How are we to tackle this?
So at the end of the day, when your network is vandalized, everybody gets affected. So whether you're a residential customer or commercial or industrial entity that takes power from the grid, you get affected. So the protection of the network is everybody's responsibility. So you don't have to wait on the police to knock on your door to address issues like this. So when you see it, if you see it, say it. See it, say it. It affects you. If it doesn't affect you directly on supply side, it would affect you on the cost side because it would be reflected in your tariff. So it's important that we all speak up.
We really cannot thank Engineer Olawi enough. You have really done justice to all the issues, and we want to thank you so much, believing that when next we call on you, you will always answer. So we say thank you. And for the listeners at home, so so bad again that we couldn't hear from you today, but we want to believe that because we tried everything we could at our own end to ensure that you could get across to us. But never mind. Next week is another day, and we hope to see you then. Banji.
Yeah, I know that there have been modest achievements, modest successes recorded in the last 1 year, but it's still not so much the satisfaction of every Nigerian. We hope that by the time another year comes in, that second year of administration of this Bola Ahmed Tinubu, there will be greater reasons to rejoice by all the stakeholders. Engineer Olaolawi, so much thanks to you. That's our package today. My name is Banji Busari. See you again Wednesday next week.
And my own name is Ademola Benkranson Adegoke. We'll see you next week.
Dear esteemed customer, Eco Electricity Distribution Company, EcoDisco, hereby advises you against careless attitudes in your daily usage of electricity to avoid electrocution. Electrocution is the passage of electrical currents through a human body, resulting in death. EKEDC therefore advises you to be extremely careful when using electric gas cookers, microwave ovens, washing machines, irons, and so on when plugging in your TV, radio, DVD players, and stereo sets. Do not tamper with or attempt repairing your meter if it develops a fault. Invite a qualified electrical engineer. Also, this rainy season, to avoid electrocution or untimely death, be careful not to step on naked electricity wire or engage in any trading or business activity under high tension wire. For any electrical issues you have, call our customer care line on 0708 067 1170 and 0700 123 5666. EKEDC, empowering the quality of lives.